Right, everyone had a nice break? Got coffee, got tea, had lunch, whatever you needed to get? I'm afraid this is over-promising. I'm not going to tell you everything wrong with the cybersecurity industry. They wouldn't give me the 5 hours I'd need. So this is a selection, but I think it's one of the main points. And you can probably get the vibe from the title. I had to censor it, university rules. But, quick bit about me, for those who don't know me. That's me. I am an old man who shouts a lot at cloud technologies. Simpsons joke there for people who get it. I have some qualifications and things. They happen as you get older in this industry. I've been doing this far too long. Really far too long. Hence this talk. Sometimes I wear hats. I'm not today because my normal hat-carrying intern has a baby to carry instead. Thank you, Scott. I talk too much. I do a lot of talking at events. By the way, all of you should put talks in because then you'll have to listen to me less. Go and do talks. I'm bad at introduction pages, in case you hadn't figured that out. And I wrote a book. So while I'm saying stop buying new shit, that doesn't include my book. It's out there. We can talk later. Quick question. How much as a percentage of their budget should a company spend on cyber security? Of their IT budget? Yes?
I guess about, it could be about a quarter dedicated to cyber security, although pretty much all your IT budget would be for stuff that should be secure.
It could be. I'm going to ask for hands up. Who thinks 1% or more? 5% or more? 10% or more? 20% or more? The industry consensus, such as it is between 7 to 20% of your total IT budget as a company. According to a range of research papers, which are created by vendor marketing departments. These are made-up numbers. They've gone out, they've asked some of their customers, how much do you spend on our product? Well, we spend 20% of our budget on you because you're so bloody expensive. These are not well-sourced numbers, and yet you will see them constantly throughout your entire career. And it keeps on going up as well. Last I remember, about a decade ago, it was 5%. We're now at 7 to 20. This is getting ridiculous. And cybersecurity vendors, there's more of them than there used to be. Back in 2003, there were a few hundred, about 400. These are vendors of products. And this is purely taken from Richard Steinman's security yearbook. So one source. So feel free to criticise my own sourcing of data. We are now at nearly 4,000, and it's accelerating fast, particularly if you start looking at startups. So I've got another question for you. How many of those extra 3,600 are doing something truly new in cybersecurity? Anyone? Wild guesses are fine. 3,600 of them. How many of them are doing something brand new, innovative, transformative? Okay. In 25 years, I've found one so far. And their new thing is that they automatically unplug network cables. It's a really clever solution. It is implementing an old technology, which was having a person do it, but it's doing it really well. And that's genuinely the first new capability I have seen in this industry in over 20 years. So, anyone recognise this number? Yeah. This is the estimated, lovely word estimated, annual cost of cybercrime by 2025, this year. It's not a well-sourced number. In case you're wondering, it was come up with by a market research company, you can find their report, who are trying to sell, anyone guess? Cybersecurity investment. Shocking. 10.5 trillion That dwarfs most countries. And that's supposed to be the cost of cybercrime. Now, they're very generous with how they describe cybercrime. It's essentially anything that involves a computer and some form of crime, or a phone, or a fax machine, possibly a printer. I don't know if they include mail fraud. And the same report, 2 trillion is the estimated addressable cybersecurity market by 2030. Now, for those of you who haven't done MBAs, good choice. But secondly, addressable market means this is how much we think we can sell to suckers. Again, it's about as well sourced as the previous number. This is why there is so much investment in cybersecurity. We have huge problems and we're investing huge amounts in it. So how's that working out for us? How are we doing? Well, when did cybersecurity start? You must have learned something about this on your course. I'm going to tell you they're wrong, but when did it start? Anyone? Morris Warren?
I mean, it could have started, well, you could potentially claim it started in the Roman times if you were very loose.
I think we'll leave out the Antikythera mechanism as one of the primitive computers for this one. No, I'm going to give you a date that it started. Other people disagree, it's fine, people are allowed to be wrong. In 1970, there was a report called the Ware Report. This defined the problem of, at the time, computer security. And it identified certain problem spaces. First of all, that security wasn't being put in place as a fundamental design requirement. Anyone recognise that problem today? Secondly, access control and authentication. Formal security policies not being documented. Insider and external threats. Data classification and treatment, and system monitoring and audit. 1970, we knew where the problems were. So which of those have we solved today? (1972), the Anderson Report. This was a follow-up to the Ware Report. Those QR codes are completely safe, by the way, and will take you to the PDFs of the reports, which are available for free. But the Anderson Report went beyond trying to define the problem and saying, how can we fix this? And the Anderson Report came in, the second volume of it at least, and said, well, we can automate system security by design. I just want to really emphasise this. We know how to automate system security by design. We know how to build the tests. We know how to build the tooling. Everything we need to do that exists and has existed for a long time. A lot of vendors out there just relabel it with quantum or AI or other words and then sell the same shit. Stronger access control systems. MFA, anyone? It's been around for a while. Again, 1972, this was recognised as the solution, and it's still not in place. Protection against malicious insiders. Now, this actually ties into the first two, because if your system is designed with security in mind, your malicious insiders find it a lot harder to be malicious, to act out, to get your systems to do insecure things, to get them to perform unanticipated and unwanted behaviours, which ultimately is what a security incident is. Accountability through audit trails. 1972, we are still not logging application activity in audits. Told you I was angry. Physical security for computer systems. I notice everyone, or a lot of laptops here. Any of them locked to the desk? We used to have these lovely padlock things that went into your laptop and would clamp it to a desk. We've removed those because they were too inconvenient.
And also they could be shimmed very quickly.
They could be shimmed, but it's still longer to shim one of those than it is to grab a laptop and run. Do you know where most laptops go missing in London? Pub, Friday night. System configuration and integrity checking, 1972, and we've still not cracked it. We know how to do this, and yet we still are not building it in to our ecosystem. Despite this, people pour money into new solutions, shiny ones that promise more and more AI, more and more automation, more and more quantum. I don't like quantum. I did physics once. So, I'm going to give you, as a new generation of cybersecurity people coming in, the law that you need to lay down, either when you become a CISO or when you get into your first entry-level role, see what the CISO is doing and barricade his office to shout at them. These are Bohr's laws of buying security shit. Basic rule, you are only allowed to buy new shit if you can express the visibility of your estate as a percentage. I'm not saying it has to be 100%. I'm saying you have to know how much of your estate you can see. You have to know, well, I think there's about 20 people who are off and I've not got track of their laptops or their phones. You know that you bought this stuff. Where is it? Inventory management. That goes back way beyond 1970. We're at about 4000 BC for inventory management. And you can tell me, as a CISO, as security leadership, what every single one of your current security tools is for. What is it addressing? What is its purpose? Try asking someone that. See if they can even list all of their current security tools. I'll wait. You can provide metrics, magic word here, to describe the change anything new you're bringing will bring about. Metrics are not, well, the white paper said it would help us with this. Metrics are, we know we have this problem, and this automated testing tool will help us reduce vulnerabilities within our software development lifecycle. That's a metric, and we are going to aim to reduce them by 20% by the end of the cycle. Known vulnerabilities, things we know we shouldn't be building in. Banned words. If any of these words are in your sales pitch to your leadership team, you should be out. You knew that one was coming. AI, quantum, next gen. Apparently there's next gen antivirus. I didn't even know that acronym existed until a few years ago. Next gen antivirus is antivirus with an extra zero on the end. Every antivirus now uses behavioral analytics of software. It's not next gen to do that. It is basic functionality. Any new form of ishing, quishing. I mean, who are we paying to come up with it? Well, I know who we're paying. But any new form of ishing, if that's part of your pitch, something's gone wrong. All ishing is deception-based attacks against humans. It's just plain fraud. Who's a fan of zero trust? Right. In the Anderson report, 1972, it introduced this concept of the observer model. The observer model, the architecture that involves, is exactly what zero trust purports to offer. Zero trust is not new. It wasn't developed in 2010. It was just renamed in 2010. Or reinvented, possibly.
Used for great good.
It can be used for great good, but you know what else can? Least privilege, segregation of duties, segregation of the network, observability. That's what zero trust is, ultimately. Predictive. Again, especially with AI, at scale. Yeah, great. So you can detect your vulnerabilities at scale, but you've still got the same 10 developers to try and fix them all. Unless your capability for remediation and mitigation matches your output of findings, you are not making any progress. You're just getting more investment for cybersecurity without solving anything. Autonomous. People are autonomous. Systems aren't. Systems are rule-based. Even the latest LLM is ultimately rule-based. We just don't know the rules. They are not autonomous systems just because they're unpredictable and wildly hallucinate things. I can get someone from a SOC and have them wildly hallucinate. Would you trust that with your security? Military grade. For any military people in the room, I'm not, but for any military people in the room, I am told this means at the lowest possible budget with the minimum functionality to sell to someone who doesn't know what they're buying. Okay, next rule. You can explain to me how this thing that you want to buy reduces risk from one of the fundamental challenges from the original Ware report, because those are the same challenges we have today. They have not changed. There is nothing new about the challenges we face today, except we've dressed them up in more words. So if you can tell me how it reduces risk of security as a fundamental design requirement not being put in place. That's a very easy bar to clear if it's going to do something useful. Or access control and authentication. I'm not saying don't buy that 2FA product, I'm saying make sure you know why you're buying it. And what it does that the other 50 you bought last week don't do. Strengthening security policies. Compliance gets a really bad rap in cybersecurity. Now, for those of you who are convinced that technology is the answer, I'm sorry to tell you, the only bit that matters in cybersecurity, the same as any other security, is the human. The human is the target, the human is the culprit. We do not govern humans with technology. We can restrict what they can do, but we do not control them with technology. We place controls on humans with policies, with clearly written, carefully thought out policies that are communicated well. Because then when someone's in breach, we can push them out the door, or we can deal with it. If your policies are not clear and well written, you've got no recourse when they decide to be that insider threat. Speaking of insider and external threats, how does this tool you want to buy deal with them? Data classification and treatment. Anyone here had any experience with a data classification policy? Anyone here seen a data classification policy that is actually applied consistently? And system monitoring and audit. Track what people have done. Keep an audit record so that you can look back and deal with it. These are not complicated things. By the way, you have to be able to explain how it reduces risk from one of these challenges in words that make sense to a 5-year-old. If you can't do that, you don't understand it well enough. You also have to tell me why my clicker's not working. There we go. Small print caveat to all of these rules. This is an important one. You can break any of them if you can explain why you need to break it. If you've got a reason to say, well, it doesn't actually address any of that, but it does address this, that's fine. You're allowed to break the rules then. Maybe not the AI one or the quantum. Now, sometimes I get asked, and this is your cue to start thinking of questions so that you're not caught blindsided when I get to that. James, aren't you just being cynical? Well, no. I am cynical, I am jaded about our whole industry. I don't hate it, I want to be clear. I love this industry. I think it's vitally important. With talks like this, I'm trying to use humour and hyperbole to deal with the fact that we have been hijacked by marketing. We are being sold shit that doesn't do what it's meant to do. And we're being sold it at vast expenses, covering up the actual problems we need to address. So, sort of jading cynical, but not just jading cynical. Not all vendors, by the way, just in case there's any in the room. If you want to be on the list of not all vendors, please meet me round the back and bring your checkbook. So, questions are open now. If there are any complaints about this talk, please see the complaints department. He's out there. And there's stuff there with QR codes and things. Promise it's safe. Any questions?